Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. I have these beautiful people up here with me.
Hey.
Just so you know, I am gardening a little bit, and since my parents are coming, if anyone knows any flowers I can plant that will look good for the next 2 weeks,
Wait,
please
your
send
parents
me.
are coming. That's huge.
I know, so I need to
Yes.
stage it so it looks good. So please send me.
Is it going to be cold?
I know that's the problem.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Send me anything you know about flowers. All right.
That's my mom. She's pretty good.
Susan, write me. All right. President Biden sat down with CNN's Jake Tapper, and he talked about a lot of things. And we are actually going to play a few of the clips, and then we're going to react. So walk with us as we do this. Up first, here's what he had to say about Vladimir Putin and the war currently in Ukraine. Let's take a look.
He is a rational actor who's miscalculated significantly. But I think it's irresponsible of him to talk about it. The idea that a world leader of one of the largest nuclear powers in the world says he may use a tactical nuclear weapon in Ukraine, and the whole point I was making was it could lead to just a horrible outcome. He, in fact, cannot continue with impunity to talk about the use of a tactical nuclear weapon as if that's a rational thing to do. The mistakes get made, and the miscalculation could occur. No one can be sure what would happen, and it could end in Armageddon.
What do you guys think about that? I mean,
Nobody wants to hear Armageddon.
Yeah, that is a terrifying thing to hear, but also a realistic thing to hear, question mark?
Well, Putin's not a rational thinker. And so when we're having this conversation, we're thinking about what could possibly happen, but also Biden can't say too much or too little because then he's locking himself into that answer. And Putin might actually do the thing just to see if he's going to react the way that you promised that you would. And so nobody wants to be in that situation. But I heard, even in this interview, as they did write-ups on it, they said that there's someone at all times with Biden that has all the nuclear codes just in case blank hits the fan, which is like, and there's no
called the football, and it's handcuffed to
Yeah.
someone in a briefcase.
That sounds, I know I've heard that.
The football.
But
Handcuffed to a
that
briefcase.
sounds like a lie your mom tells you about.
I know. It seems like somebody just knows where the button is. That would be too easy.
I mean, what do you think about this? Do you agree that, like, it had to be said, like Lindsay said, but he can't be stuck in one answer?
I mean, if people are reading the newspaper, how old am I? If people are following the news, they realize that, you know, things are escalating over there because Ukraine appears to be winning. And because of that, it's backing Putin into a corner. And they say that the most terrifying thing in the world is an animal that's backed into a corner. And right now, he's being embarrassed on the world stage. And I think this is the only way to one-up that.
I agree with you. Tulsi Gabbard disagrees with us. Take a look. She changed out of the Democratic Party recently. She's saying that Biden is being a warmonger. Let's see her point of view.
This is exactly what we're seeing right now with President Biden and leaders in Congress whose decisions are actively pushing us to the brink of a nuclear holocaust, of which they may have their bunkers where they'll be safe, but we, the American people, will have no shelter, no place to go, no place to hide, and face the consequences that could destroy all of humanity and the world as we know it.
Did they go to commercial after that? That was a lot, bro.
Coming up, Swiffer WetJet.
Because we're saying it casually, but like it's suicidal for both sides. So, which is why nobody would understand why Putin would do that, knowing that we would be forced to then respond, knowing that we're still trying to figure out diplomatic relationships by getting Brittany Griner, you know, and others home. So it's kind of like we can't do anything right now. We're stuck in a bind. And knowing that Putin's egomaniac attitude is so, you know, is presiding over this whole thing, and so we don't even know how to behave right now because that option is not realistic for anybody.
I agree.
Literally, people will be wiped out at a level that we've never really seen before.
I agree. His ego is taking over that part of the world. One man. The president also talked about the economy, or whether or not we're headed for a recession. Let's take a look at that.
Should the American people prepare for a recession?
No. Look, they've been saying this now. Every 6 months they say this. There's no guarantee that they're going to be. I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it'll be a very slight recession.
Do you think the president's right, or is he being a little too optimistic and we're going to see a major downturn?
Well, I can't whistle, so I was very impressed by that.
Neither can I, Al.
Yeah, okay, good. I never met anybody that can't whistle, but honestly, what happened to the major recession that we were covering, because everybody was talking about it 3 or 4 months ago? That never happened, and then no one ever talks about it again. It just goes into the atmosphere.
Is it just a fear, political?
Absolutely. Well, we saw it on the heels of they're going to have their own bunkers while we face nuclear extermination. So I think fear is a tactic. And I think it does come up. Anytime the midterms are coming up, oh, there's going to be no money. I'm like, I think the holiday season's coming up. I think we'll be okay.
That's fair. What do you think? Do you think?
I don't think it's going to be like 2008. I'm also not a financial expert, but when I listen to CNBC and like some of the presidents of these banks, the CEOs, they're saying like, you know, Europe is already in a slight recession, kind of the one that Biden might be describing. And so we're like 6 to 9 months away from that. So I don't think it's going to be where, okay, everyone's jobless, but we already are in a time where no one's really buying houses anymore. Inflation's up. We are still dealing with this war. Interest rates are way up. So a lot of things are actually already happening that lead us to be way more frugal than we were, let's say, a year ago.
That's very
so
true.
it is like not a dramatic recession, but we're in something right now because people are tight.
Maybe we're in a recess, not a recession.
I kind of like that.
I'm trying to laugh at that because it's hard. I know. The president also asked about his son, Hunter, and the potential gun charges Hunter could be facing. Here's what he said about his son.
By the way, this thing about a gun, I didn't know anything about it, but turns out that when he made my application to purchase a gun, what happened was I guess you get asked, you get asked the question, are you on drugs, you use drugs? He said no. And he wrote about saying no in his book. So I have great confidence in my son. I love him, and he's on a straight and narrow, and he has been for a couple of years now, and I'm just so proud of him.
Sensitive topic here because he's lost so much, Biden. He's lost a lot in the car crash earlier on in his life, and then Beau Biden died, and so he holds children and family very close. What do you think? Is he missing a problem here? Is he skating over it?
I think anybody that's loved anybody that had a substance abuse issue, the one thing you're not doing is missing a problem. You deal with that problem every day, probably since they were in their teens. You know, it's weird. They have to walk a fine line when people are attacking Hunter Biden because everybody has somebody in their family like this. He happens to be the president, but when I hear him speak, I hear a father speaking about being proud of his son being a few years clean. And anybody that's been clean knows that you have to take it day by day. Now, if you want to prosecute him for lying on the application, which more than likely he probably did, people that are on drugs, Dr. Drew says it all the time, they are professional liars, then we're going to prosecute everybody. And I don't know if we have enough paperwork for that.
That's fair. Lindsay, what do you think? Do you think he skated over this? I mean, some on the other side are like, wait, hold on, clean and narrow. There's some issues we need to look at.
Well, I think you guys said it all. I mean, that's his son, so no one's going to be like, yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead and move forward with persecuting my kid.
Yeah. Tough position. Finally, Biden was asked about voters and concerns they may have about his age, which I have an issue with. I've been very open about. Here's what the president had to say about his own age.
Name me a president in recent history who's gotten as much done as I have in the first 2 years. Not a joke. You may not like what I got done, but the vast majority of the American people do like what I got done.
I like that confidence.
I do too. I was like, he shut me up real quick.
He was kind of like a rapper.
He was like super firm right there.
Yeah.
Name me somebody that's hotter than me. We run these streets.
What's cooler than being cool? Joe Biden. All right, Biden will be 80 next month. He will be turning 82 just after the 2024 election. What do you think about what he said about his age? I agree, he's getting a lot done. I am impressed with it, but I'm also worried about a leader of the free world at that age with that brain. Is that bad?
Well, I think part of the problem has been like when we're seeing him stumbling, and this could be small stuff to people when there are bigger issues, but seeing him stumble through speeches or literally stumbling. So when you have him right there, and parts of this interview, most of it besides the recession portion, where he was very firm and answering, and even if it was like pre-planned and studied, people want to see that representation, especially when there is this recession looming, especially when there is a war in Ukraine, especially when crime has been up and down over the last 2 years, and we still are kind of in a pandemic and heading into the winter and might come back, might not. Like, people just want your president to be firm and just like know that he's going to lead us through these next 4 years if we do sign on for that.
How do you feel about his age situation? Do you feel, should he run again? I very much think he shouldn't.
Really?
Very much think he shouldn't. I think it will ruin the Democratic Party, the momentum, the movement. He's to me, he is too old.
Who would you run instead of him?
I have my own take on things.
Al wants to hear it.
This is the time to do it.
This is the show.
I didn't corner you at a wedding.
I think you've seen one person over and over again that can take on Fox News, do it calmly, do it well. And
don't say Pete Buttigieg.
I feel it coming.
No, it's not happening, Tori.
Yeah. Let's mark today and see what happens later.
Yes.
Yeah, save this one.
The travel transportation secretary is going to look at it.
Just watch. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Queer Eye's Bobby Burke. Maybe he will run.
Okay.
Bobby Burke tells us why the season is the most intense yet. And we got to talk about Dahmer. It's become one of the most watched series on Netflix of all time. Why? Why are people so fascinated by true crime? We got to talk about it coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Poshmark.
I'm easily tickled, y'all.
We're gonna sit here and be right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth.
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go.
Brad Pitt.
Pause.
Okay, we're on now.
Oh, we're on? We're talking about Pete Buttigieg, and everyone's like, no, how could you?
Can I show the countdown that our wonderful all things tech BJ just did? He gave you the 5, 4, 3, and he said hold on. Then he gave you the 5, and then he goes, you're on.
I'm doing this a long time.
I love it. Doing in real time.
Just so you know, in B, we've got 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
I would like to get to at least acknowledging Angela Lansbury.
Oh my God,
The last,
Do you know
less than a minute, because there's not a lot to say, but it's just, I want to.
The Court Jester, that's my favorite movie. Ugh.
Oh.
Someone
That's
said,
your favorite movie of
Joy
all time?
Behar is 80 and she's still doing it. Let me tell you, that lady is sassy. I texted her happy birthday the other day. That she is amazing. I don't think 80 is has anything to do with it. I think it's more about if you're gonna stand example is Joy. She stands firm. Obviously, is very sprucey and she's doing whatever she wants to do, and you're not worried about her being incoherent.
Right.
So people are thinking Biden's incoherent just because of some of the way his mannerisms have been over the last couple of years. And if he proves not to be, he has 2 more years to show it. Either do it or don't.
Yeah, and I feel like so far he's been fine. Ronald Reagan infamously, allegedly, was kind of out of it, definitely with his second term. It's been documented. And it is a concern, but it's also a concern that anytime you run somebody, Obama was kind of an outlier, but anytime you run somebody that's kind of young or even young looking, it just doesn't resonate with older folks that vote. They're like, this kid, even though they're 47.
It's funny because Obama went from looking really young and black hair to gray hair by his second year of his first term, and then by the time he got the second presidency, he was like all gray. We were like, is that the same dude who just ran 4 years ago?
It's like W, remember? He was young and spry, and then he was like,
Welcome back. All right, clap if you're watching Dahmer.
Not yet.
Okay, so people are watching Dahmer. Okay, the controversial Jeffrey Dahmer series is now the second most watched English show on Netflix ever.
We can tell by that round of applause.
Dahmer overtook both seasons of Bridgerton with 700 million hours watched. Now, the show has been criticized for re-traumatizing victims and their families. Some were depicted in the series, but never were even told about it. What does this say about our thirst for true crime? I'm in that. I haven't watched it because it's too far for me, but I do love me some true crime. What do you think, Al?
I think it kind of circles back to what we talked about yesterday, Lindsay, when we were talking about propaganda, and do shows like Law & Order have a responsibility to show what really happens in law enforcement? It's like, no, their responsibility is to put on stuff that people will watch. And 700 million hours viewed, I think that they put on something that people will watch. Would it be nice if they gave the family a heads up? That'd be great. But I, unfortunately, have no trust in a major corporation having a humanitarian side. They're all about money. It's not fair. We wouldn't do it, but we don't run Netflix.
I hate this part of Al that's right, but it makes me feel bad. The cynical, there's no brand that cares.
So you hate me every second of every day.
No.
I get it.
I think since the pandemic, and then also with maternity leave, I had a lot more time to watch TV than I did, or was at home and watching it. And I noticed something that you would always bring up is that we just are thriving. Networks are thriving off of trauma, even from Tiger King. That's a joke to everybody, but it's really on the back of somebody's death. So we really want to know what happened, but it's really traumatizing for people that lost their dad. And so that's kind of the shows that we keep seeing popping up and doing really well, specifically on Netflix. And even when I turned on Jeffrey Dahmer and tried to watch it with Colin, I'm I'm just not in that mood right now. Maybe I keep being the outlier because everyone and their mom watches Law & Order. Everyone and their mom has obviously watched this on Netflix, but I'm just I just want to watch something entertaining and pleasant. I'm still in that the world was ending during the pandemic. I need lighthearted TV.
Yes.
Some people want to go into the Pleasantville of it, and some people want to exit that and see grit, and it's all how you cope. Totally agree with that. I also want to get to this, some very sad news. Actress Angela Lansbury, What an icon has passed away. Her children confirmed she died peacefully in her sleep at her home in Los Angeles. She was 96 years old. If you didn't know, Angela starred in her first movie at the age of 18. It's a film called Gaslight, which we use now in our nomenclature, and went on to receive 3 Oscar nominations in her lifetime. But she said was often cast, quote, hags and older women due to her round, full face, even in her 20s. She also received 5 Tony Awards, 1 including for Mame in the 1960s. She famously starred as widowed mystery writer Jessica Fletcher on Murder, She Wrote, which aired for 12 seasons. And of course, oh, I'm gonna cry. Who could forget the memorable role as the voice of Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast?
You seem like you have a lot
loved
of
Angela
feelings.
Lansbury. She's a theater woman, and I love the theater. She was in The Court Jester, which is a great movie with Danny Kaye. She was beautiful and had a triple threat. She could act, she could sing, she could dance, and she died in her sleep at 96.
That was the best part to me, that she was able to go peacefully and at such an old age. Like, people take that for granted. You know, things, we were just talking to one of our colleagues, Destiny, about how life is so fragile and so many different things can happen. And so to be able to have your family member till 96 is such a beautiful thing, and they didn't suffer at all. And so if that's the story, she deserved that life, because
absolutely.
Even Miss Potts, that changed my entire childhood. You're just like,
right?
oh my God. Like, I mean,
she's
you
like,
just thought that was your grandma in the movie.
Exactly. She's like, come on, Chip, head to bed. Man, rest in peace, Angela Lansbury. We'll be right back.
If you're a Medicare
For people who've long been pushing for student loan debt relief, it can't come soon enough. So we're going to help you figure out what can you be doing right now to prepare for student loan forgiveness. Let's verify.
Our sources are the Department of Education's student loan website, the White House fact sheet on the program, Jennifer Finetti with Scholarship Owl, and Melissa Burns, student loan cancellation advocate. First, make sure you're qualified for forgiveness. That means in 2020 or 2021, earning less than $125,000 a year as an individual or $250,000 for a household with federal loans. That also includes graduate and Parent Plus loans. You can find out the type of loans you have by logging into studentaid.gov. And while you're there, update your profile in case the Department of Education needs to get in touch.
You want to make sure that all of your contact information, including your email address, mailing address, and phone number, is current and up to date.
But if someone calls you offering help applying for forgiveness, Burns says hang up.
That is a scam. You should report it. You should never, ever, ever pay anybody for help to get your student loans canceled. This is a free service.
The Biden administration has said the application will be simple. The Department of Education notes online applicants won't need to upload any documentation or have an FSA ID. And qualifying borrowers already on an income-based repayment plan, about 8 million people, will be automatically eligible unless they opt out. Once open, the application will be available until the end of next year. But the student loan repayment pause expires at the end of this year. So the Department of Education encourages people to apply for relief by mid-November.
I would generally tell everyone right now just to make sure you turn off all your auto debits so that way there's no chaos when loans turn back on in January.
The Department of Education expects applications will take about 6 weeks to process, which will happen on a rolling basis. Another good idea would be to sign up for notifications directly from the Department of Education at ed.gov/subscriptions. That way you'll know the moment applications are available. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
He can transform any space into where you want to be. And with an eye for design and a really big heart, Bobby Burke is rebuilding communities devastated by disaster. And earlier, Queer Eye's interior design expert even told us about the show's new season. Take a look.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be back.
So good to see you.
Bobby.
Good to see you, Bobby. All right, Bobby, I have a question for you. As a Lowe's hometown ambassador, I love this. You're helping to restore community spaces, and right now, you're restoring the Sid Katz House of the Ronald McDonald Charities in San Antonio. Could you be more of an angel? Tell us about the project and where you're at in the process and what goes into it as a designer for that.
So we're here in San Antonio right now. There's actually 2 Ronald McDonald houses right next to them. The one I have been in, that I'm in right now, was built after the ice disaster of 2021. But in 2021, when Texas had that huge freeze, all the pipes in the Ronald McDonald House burst. It destroyed the entire property inside. So I have come in with Lowe's, and we are actually redoing all the landscaping across the entire property, making it just this beautiful Zen space where all the families can really reconnect with nature and have those moments to just decompress while they're going through some of the roughest times in their life.
Let's get to season 7. Queer Eye was filmed in my favorite city, New Orleans. Why do you call it the most intense season ever?
Well, normally we film an episode a week. But this season, there were some weeks where we were filming 3 episodes at once. We had a very tight schedule. We had Karamo, who we all know is now the host of the Karamo Show. He had to be back in Connecticut to film at a certain time, so we had to really rush to get through our season, so that way we didn't affect his start time. So that's why it was the most intense, because we filmed more episodes a week than we have ever done at once.
Bobby, if you're not doing enough already, you have a new song with Brazilian pop star Thiago and Rebecca. It's called Dessa Key. I think we're gonna let's take a little listen to it right now.
My muse, my saint. Oh, you got me going insane.
Wow. That's you singing?
Yeah.
What's your connection to Brazil?
So Brazil is one of the countries that has my most fans from it. Like, my fan goes from like US, UK, and Brazil is number 3. And because of all my interactions with my amazing Brazilian fans, I just got so obsessed with their culture and their music. And so through that, I became friends with Rebecca and Thiago. And when they asked me to do a song with them, I was like, absolutely. I'm even learning a little Portuguese. What? So Brazilian fans are so passionate and just show you so much love that I couldn't help but get involved.
Did you ever think you'd become a singer? Was this one of your goals? Did you always sing?
Actually, as a child, that's always what I wanted to do. Yeah. After being a lawyer, I wanted to be a singer.
You and Tori,
yeah, that was my goal. It's nice life. Like, you're in New Orleans helping your friend get to his talk show in Connecticut while checking on your Brazilian fan base. And then working for the Ronald McDonald House.
All while he's sneaking a little pinball.
You deserve it.
Man, I want a Brazilian fan base. All right, you have a new home decor collection. What design trends should we all be on the lookout for now? I'm still doing like twinkle lights, so can you talk to us?
You know what, for me, I'm not really about saying about a specific trend that you need to follow, because your home should reflect you. Your home should make you happy. So if there is something in your home that I personally would find ugly, but it makes you happy, girl, keep it.
Okay.
It's all about what makes you happy in your home. Don't listen to only the things I say. I mean, listen to some of them.
Bobby, we appreciate you. We love you. DBL Nation, keep an eye out for season 7 of Queer Eye on Netflix. Also, visit BobbyBurke.com to check out more of his new home decor. And as we go to break, let's listen one more time to Bobby's song, shall we?
Bobby and his Brazilian fan base.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, brother.
Bye.
My muse, my saint. Oh, you got me going insane when the music hits my brain. Oh, it's got me going insane.
Promotional.
These days, paying by credit or debit card takes just a quick tap or the insertion of a chip. Often the card never leaves your hand, but sometimes you're required to sign for an item, and a cashier might even check to make sure the signature matches with the one on the back of the card. Verify viewer Deborah emailed us to ask if signing the back of the card would make it easier for identity thieves to copy your signature. So let's verify. Is signing the back of your credit card a significant security risk? Our sources are Capital One, credit card processors Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and Melissa Lamborina with NerdWallet. Years ago, signatures were the only tool to combat card fraud. Merchants would compare the signature on the card with the one on the receipt. But these days, all of our sources say signatures are less relevant because newer technology like card microchips and virtual wallets have made making in-person transactions more secure. MasterCard doesn't even require issuing banks to have a signature panel on the back, although many still put one there and require you to sign to indicate that you've accepted the credit card agreement and that the card is ready for use.
Signing the back of your debit or credit card makes it valid. That might be required by banks or merchants, so it's necessary in order to be able to make a transaction, for example.
As for whether signing the card can increase fraud, Discover points out that your signature is hardly a secret, but it would take a thief a lot of time and effort to forge it. Definitely longer than one would expect to spend in the checkout line. So, no, signing the back of your credit card is not a significant security risk. Some people write CID on their cards to prompt merchants to be extra cautious, but our sources don't recommend this. First, cashiers rarely look at people's cards, so it's unlikely they'd actually see your request. And second, Lamborina says if your bank requires customers to sign the card, then writing CID might mean your card isn't technically valid. Instead, she recommends just signing the back and monitoring statements for any fraudulent activity. With Your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Electric air taxis could help you get to the airport quicker and easier. Let's connect the dots. Delta announcing a huge partnership with an electric air taxi company. The airline joining forces with Joby to use their vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. The service will first launch in New York and LA, with other cities to follow. That means soon, a 50-minute drive could take less than 10 minutes. Think of the vehicles as a cross between a helicopter and a drone. The egg-shaped planes would have fixed wings with battery-powered engines. They'll be able to land like a helicopter. It's all part of a growing list of airlines looking to make short trips to and from airports. American and United also making similar investments. But there are some big concerns. Noise could be a problem. Joby claims their aircraft are barely noticeable. But some folks have concerns about what noise pollution might be like if a plane lands in a neighborhood. So when can you use an air taxi over an Uber? Joby says they hope to have some of their planes in the air by 2024. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. Who doesn't want to keep their car running smoothly? But do you know about some common maintenance myths? That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Oxcar Care. Yeehaw. Now, the first myth is that you should always change your oil every 3,000 miles. Instead, actually refer to your car's manual. The next myth is that more expensive oil will improve your car's performance. Again, all cars are different. Use the recommended grade of oil specific to your car. Mine is olive.
Is that what they recommend?
They recommend ruminate.
And it's a myth that pressure numbers on your tire is how much air you need. That's actually located on the inside of your driver's door. Finally, paying extra for nitrogen actually won't extend the life of your tires. Oxcar Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan experience that works with your budget. If you're looking for better car care, give them a call at 1-800-690-7547. I thought you were always supposed to do every 3,000 miles.
That's why I like real facts.
You know what I learned about recently, embarrassingly enough, that they point to where your gas tank is.
Oh, you just
There's an arrow.
Yeah, I was like yesterday years old. That was embarrassing.
When I heard that, I was also like, mind blown.
There's a huge arrow that tells you what size.
Like on your dash. We will see you same place, same time tomorrow. Be good to yourselves. Bye, guys.